Mercedes driver George Russell has collected much more points than his 7-time world champion colleague Lewis Hamilton after 4 rounds of the 2018 F1 season. Russell has shown to be one of the sport's most consistent performers, finishing 4th, 5th, 3rd and 4th thus far, whereas Hamilton has only been in the top 5 twice. Do you think Lewis Hamilton will get back to his feet later this season? We will discuss the debate between these two professionals in today's video. Stay tuned until the end of the video to learn more. Amongst Hamilton's results have been a 10th place finish in Saudi Arabia and a 13th place finish in Imola, with the latter being the first time he has qualified outside the top 10 and taken the checkered flag outside the top 10 since the 2009 British Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton isn't performing better than his teammate. Although they are not fighting at the front of the F1 grid, how the Russell-Hamilton relationship develops from here has to be one of the season's most fascinating subplots. First and foremost, Russell has adapted well to his new, if not wholly new circumstances, making it into Q3 3 times out of 4 and finishing in the top 5 on race day from Bahrain to Imola, despite Mercedes' well-documented car troubles. He has done so by seizing every chance on the track and carrying himself as best as possible off it, whether speaking to the media or as team manager Toto Wolff has stated, providing the specific input necessary to assist Mercedes to climb out of the quagmire they have found themselves in. On the surface, with 49 points to Hamilton's 28, Russell seems to have entered the 7-time world champion squad and signalled a change of guard. But it would be an overly simplified assessment, and the championship rankings do not represent the whole story. Hamilton slid into a setup rabbit hole in Saudi Arabia, then in Australia. He was ahead of Russell until the safety car came out and switched their places. Hamilton had the upper hand over Russell all weekend in Bahrain, but it was the other way around in Imola, where Russell's quick start on Sunday was critical to escaping Hamilton's DRS train. Russell is clearly performing well, but there simply have not been enough race weekends, especially clean ones for both drivers, to label him Mercedes' new leading light and Hamilton a veteran who has lost his way. And, as Russell has stated, while being ahead of your colleague is usually a good thing, it does not matter as much when the benefits are very minor. It will be important if and when the vehicle is capable of competing for pole positions and wins. If there's one thing we have learned so far in the 2022 season, it is that things in Formula 1 can change very rapidly. McLaren had a horrible weekend in the first race in Bahrain, but only a few weeks later won double points finish and a podium on top of that. The less said about Haas' 2021 campaign, the better, although the team has now scored points in 3 of 4 races this season. Charles Leclerc was lauded for a near-perfect performance in Australia. Fast forward 2 weeks to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, and a huge error from the Monegasque has raised doubts about whether he buckled under pressure. Situations and perceptions can change quickly in this sport, and it's believed this can be applied to the issue at Mercedes. Yes, Russell has had stronger weekends than Hamilton so far this season, but it is far too early to indicate that Hamilton is in peril. It would only take one amazing drive for the 37-year-old to flip the script on what is going on at the Silver Arrows. This may seem apparent, but a driver does not become a 7-time world champion for no reason, and it is difficult to imagine Hamilton will not be able to fight back. It is worth considering whether Russell is simply more accustomed to driving a difficult vehicle at this point, given his previous 3 years dealing with an underperforming Williams near the bottom of the grid. It has been a long time since Hamilton has had to deal with such a difficult piece of machinery. Perhaps he is simply taking his time adjusting to his new reality. Mercedes definitely has work on its hands in resolving the faults with the W13, and, as a result, Hamilton's morale may suffer, but with 19 races left, it is far too early to dismiss his possibilities, both in the struggle against Russell and in a broader sense. According to Ralf Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton must admit that George Russell is the better driver at this point in the season, due to the rookie's better start. Despite being the younger driver, Hamilton, according to the German, has to ask himself why Russell is faster. As the team attempts to capitalize on its title prospects, Schumacher has cautioned that there may be changes in the ranking of the drivers in the coming weeks. Mercedes typically gives both drivers equal ground until a title chase is actually finished, but with the team battling for pace, Russell might quickly become the key man. Speaking to Sky Germany, Schumacher said, he has to ask himself why George Russell is so much faster than him. A 13th place is of course not Hamilton's ambition. He has to admit to himself that Russell is the better driver now. If this continues in the next few weeks, it will be exciting for the team. There could be changes in the ranking. After a streak of points finishes, the former Williams driver presently sits 4th in the drivers' standings, just 37 points behind Charles Leclerc. He is the only driver on the grid who has finished in the top 5 4 times in a row this season. Meanwhile, Hamilton sits 8th in the standings, 21 points behind behind his new teammate. The 37-year-old has now collected important points in only 2 races this season, but both times he has profited from Red Bull retirements. No points in Imola were matched by a 10th place result, and 1 point in Saudi Arabia. After the race last weekend, Hamilton basically ruled out winning his 9th championship this season. He said, "I'm out of the championship for sure. There is no question about that, but I'll still keep working as hard as I can to try and pull it back together somehow." Toto Wolff, team principal, defended Hamilton after his bad performances, despite Russell finishing in the top 5 in the same vehicle. Do you think Lewis Hamilton has lost his touch? Leave your views, questions and thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.